Hi everyone, this is Enki again.
Simply English Talks. Simply English Talks.
Hi everyone, this is Enki from Simple English Tutoring. I am back today with better lighting and a much higher budget production. As you can obviously tell with how well lit I am. So, today we're going to be going through persuasive writing, but not the structure, nothing like that. We're just going to be going through two things that you should possibly consider avoiding or changing up in your persuasive writing. And also, of course, this extends to speeches. And this is in the context of the HSC and high school English. So let's get right into it. First of all, let's just start with a really quick rundown. Why do we do persuasive writing? Why is this even a thing that you have to do? So in our life, basically everything is about persuading someone else to compromise or believe in your point of view. Okay, so when you are trying to communicate with your friends about why you should go to this place to eat dessert versus the other place, that is a form of persuasive rhetoric, right? You're trying to say things so another person listens to you, basically. So we're trying to untap and unlock into what makes people believe in what you guys have to say. Now, the first thing I have to point out, this is number one, and it's really important: rhetorical questions. I don't like rhetorical questions. Now, rhetorical questions have been kind of the mainstay of what primary school tells you about writing persuasives. If you want to do a good speech, you have to inject some rhetorical questions in there. Now, when you guys are in high school, though, it doesn't really work out as well as you think it does. Because when someone asks you, don't you believe blah, 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 you could just turn around and be like, no, I don't. Alright? No. So unless it's placed at just the right time, it just seems cheesy. It's really cheesy, it's off-putting, and then the person sitting down can literally just reject you in their mind, and if they're a little edgier, reject you out loud and just say no. It's like, don't you want to help? No, I don't. Right? I thought that's why you were persuading me in the first place. Okay? So it's been overused, and I see it all the time. I'm not saying that you should ban it completely. I'm just saying rhetorical questions for persuasive writing. Same old, right? No one's kind of getting excited anytime soon. Now, one way of fixing rhetorical questions is actually to change it into a hypophora. So hypophora is basically a rhetorical question, but you answer it as well. And it's good because before you give the person a chance to say, no, stop talking to me, you actually provide them with the correct answer, or the answer you want them to think about anyways. So it actually helps you manipulate your audience a little bit better, and it also sounds better when you're writing it in your reflection, because rhetorical question is one of those techniques that people don't, just apart from a rhetorical question, it's I can't find any other technique in this persuasive. But we will go through that in another video, techniques in persuasives that are not similes and metaphors. It'll be exciting. So that's the first thing, rhetorical questions, all right? Second thing that I notice a lot in persuasive writing, and, just writing in general, actually, is just the lack of control over emotive language. So the lack of control over emotive language. What I mean is every single word has connotations. Okay? By this point, well, I don't know what point you are at the moment, but by a point, you will notice this. Okay? Let me write some examples down. Rosie has very different implications from the word, not implications, connotations, from the word ruby, right? Which has different connotations again to the word bloody. Like, this is clear to you guys when I like break this down so slowly. So rosy is obviously pretty things. You don't associate rose with negative ideas, right? Ruby is precious. It might be a bit cold, but it's, you know, it's like high class, elegant, it's chic. And bloody, obviously you expect to see dead bodies everywhere. So even though all three of them are red, you wouldn't kind of describe a beautiful lady's blush as bloody unless you wanted to insult her, right? So that's the power of words. And trust me, when you guys are, well, I'm assuming you guys are younger than me, but you really start learning that your choice of words is oh so important, because it literally changes the reaction of the person you are kind of communicating with, just based on like one or two words. It's insane. So what I notice a lot in persuasive writing is that students use either conflicting emotive language or they're just very neutral. They're like, don't you believe kids need help? They are sad and, do not feel good. And then the audience is kind of like, first of all, no, I don't want help. And the second thing is, they're doing very bad. It's not inspiring at all. I mean, if you'd said the word suffering, I'd listen a little bit more. Okay, like that connotation is so much more obvious in that situation. So the connotation is really important. So try not to be too neutral with your words. Like if you're trying to say someone's having a bad life, like really use those emotive words to get that out. Don't just like, oh, they live in a small house. No, they live in a cramped house. Okay, they live in a cramped house that is overflowing with trash and rubbish, and it's a sanitary, like it's basically a health hazard. The word hazard is emotive. Okay, so you want to avoid neutral words like bad, good. See, teachers tell you guys not to use those words, not because it showcases your vocabulary, but because those words don't have any connotations behind them. There's nothing there. So that's one thing. The second thing I notice is that sometimes students use conflicting connotations. And this means, this gets me riled up, by the way, can you tell? This basically means that you kind of use a word with positive connotations, but you're trying to say something negative. And that just, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, so they'll be saying something like, there are many children in Australia who desperately need help, and because they live in cozy homes, in, tiny, quaint suburbs. Cozy, yes, cozy is a synonym of small, we get it. You can Google, but the connotations are completely wrong. A cozy means nice. I would like to live in a cozy house, right? I would like to live in a quaint suburb. It just means it's nice and quiet. But if you say something like a cramped house in an isolated suburb, different, completely different. You think you said the same thing, but you didn't. And that is one of the most important things in persuasive writing. I mean, in discursive and creative as well, but persuasive writing really relies on this accurate manipulation of emotive language. Those are my two most important tips. Like, if you want to, if you don't want to blend in with the crowd, first of all, ditch the rhetorical questions, or change them into hyperforas at least. And second of all, make sure that you are really considering the connotations of every single one of the words that you use, because bland neutral words will create a bland neutral speech, and people don't give you marks for not being convinced, since that's the goal of a persuasive text. So hit like and subscribe if you found that helpful. I was posting quite irregularly, but I'm going to try and make at least once every second week uploads to bring out more tips and tricks like this in order to help you guys write stuff, read stuff, go through some annotation, go through some techniques with you guys. And don't forget to leave a comment if you have any questions. I do try to reply to them as soon as I can. So, all right, cool. See you next time. Bye.